Hello, everybody. Welcome to my review. This is for Fear the Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 2. This one's titled Another Day in the Diamond. As we know, Diamond Baseball Park doesn't take much thought to go into why this is called that. And it's also called Another Day. It kind of shows just, the way it's formatted and set up kind of shows it that, this is just another day in the diamond. Yeah, it's just another day. Sorry, couldn't resist. Anyway, it's just, another day in the diamond. They show them doing routine things, getting up, having coffee, stranded maple syrup, and they're just doing regular routine things. It's just another day, pretty much. And as the the PA announcer said, this is the 365th day in the diamond. So they've been there for a full year at this point. So we know a year has passed definitively between season 3 and 4. Yes, between where they left at the dam in season 3, they were presumably on the road for a while, and then they found the baseball diamond and managed to put it all together. The way we see it now, as a thriving community, they're all in the luxury boxes, which are very nice. I happen to have been in a few luxury suites at games, and they are very nice. So, lucky them. Nobody has to pay for those. Anyway, I'm just gonna, go through this episode. Not a lot happened, but yet, at the same point, a lot did happen. It's a very basic episode. We're off to a good start with Fear. Episode 1 had a little bit of everything, brought Morgan over, had some action, and then the original Fear group shows up at the end. And this episode begins to show us just why they were there, why they were ambushing Morgan and them. I don't think they were just necessarily ambushing them because of that. I think they were just there surviving and just going to take from whoever shows up. Now, I will get into that at the end of the episode because that's when all this happens, but this episode begins to chip away at that moment in the end of episode 1. So, they're in a baseball stadium. They find Charlie, this girl Charlie, and they take her in, and they promise that they're going to look for her family, who she doesn't want to talk about. She points in the direction that they came from, but she will not talk about her family. Madison's determined. We know she's determined to help people. We know she's a good, decent person. And from what they've brought up, I think the woman's name is Viv. I don't remember the guy's name, but he was all, we don't go out past their little, safe zone, safe area type. They have a little perimeter, I guess, that they consider safe. Wherever you can pass for safe outside of, a place like, the baseball stadium that they're at. And Madison comes up with the retort that, we went out after you. Now, granted, he wasn't outside that zone, but they still went looking for him. So Madison wants to go out and find this girl, Charlie's family. So she does. She sets out with Strand, Alicia, and Luciana. to go search this town in the direction that Charlie pointed to. And it's brought up that Nick doesn't go out anymore. Nick stays behind, Nick stays there. And it's revealed that he has some sort of PTSD situation going on. He's having these flashbacks to the dam. He keeps reliving that moment a few times in this episode. So, he's clearly traumatized. But they have a good system going there. Now, what I'm curious to. Nick says to Alicia, make sure she comes back this time, referring to Luciana, and I'm just curious if we're gonna find out what that's a reference to, what happened prior, where she didn't come back. Because I'm banking on that being a different time than the fact where she just ran off. She left with good reason. She had a good reason to leave the ranch, but I think this is something different that happened afterwards. But not stressing too much about that. We'll probably get the way this season is going to work, and I predicted it. I figured, everybody probably figures that it's going to be a mixture of like the then and now scenario, like this episode was. We have the then, which was sort of like a flashback type situation, and then we have the now. Excuse me. Now is we have Morgan, we have John and Al, where they bump into Alicia and crew, and then is the flashback. So it was done very well in this episode. It wasn't back and forth. They're doing a very good job of distinguishing between the two. The now is a little bit grayed out. Where in the past, when they've done the then and now thing, the then was usually grayed. The one that was grayed out. The past was the one that was typically grayed out or black and white. It's flip-flopped, because if you remember in the season 6 premiere of The Walking Dead, I know, we're going back 2 seasons now, it bounced back and forth between past and present. It showed their plan, what they were doing in the present, in color, and then in black and white, they showed sort of the planning leading up to it. So, this is sort of the opposite. I'm not going to get too much into that. It's not necessary. It's a minor detail. So anyway, while they're on the run, Nick is talking to Charlie about their supply, the turnips, they're not doing well, which they discover they have weevils. And he asks them to get a book for Charlie, which Luciana does. Forget the name of it, not important. So they arrive in a town, Madison and them. There's no sign of anything. No sign of people, no sign of the dead. Nothing's there. Which they find suspicious, but yet everything's picked clean. But no people, no dead, nothing. Madison finds these silos and is still curious why there's no people there. Until she finds a can of something. And she bumps into Naomi. Naomi wants her keys. Naomi eventually falls into one of the silos. And we have one of the better moments of the episode. A strong episode. I'm not saying it wasn't. But this was a strong moment in the episode. I mean, you're pretty much guaranteed, Naomi's not going to die. Pretty much, we're not sure what happens to Madison, why she wasn't with them in the present scenario, but just because she wasn't there doesn't mean she's dead. She could have just been with more people. She could have been hiding. We don't know. But it wouldn't be a terrible bet to presume that she dies. And that those four are the only four left: Nick, Strand, Alicia, and Luciana. So, we shall see. Okay, so they fight in the silo full of the dead. Strand, Alicia, and Luciana get the hatch open, fight whatever dead are left, and they go back with them. Nick hears music. So he decides to go off and investigate it by himself. He drives out of the compound. Speaking of driving out of the compound, I do want to mention their little distraction mechanism for because the dead were, around the fence, the gate. So they use one of those pitching, if anybody's ever been to a batting cage, the little pitch machine, they put an exploding baseball in it and just chuck it to lure the dead to one spot so they can get out safely without any walkers getting in. So, sidebar aside, Nick goes off. He goes out. He starts driving. He starts having these flashbacks that I was talking about, and his vehicle gets surrounded by dead. He freaks out, steps on the gas, rams into a light pole. The dead are surrounding him. Cole, his name is Cole, takes out some of the dead. Nick gets out and starts to make a break for the ballpark until Mass and them show up, take out some infected with the truck. He gets in, end of story. Naomi patches him up. Again, I really want to see where her character goes. She seems like a nomad. She was passing through. But I'm looking forward to finding out about her story. Same as I am finding out more about Althea and John. As well as these new people who I'm going to get to in a minute. Okay, so Strand and I don't know his name, if it was Cole or somebody else, a few of them go out to get the truck back in. Luciana is covering them, and a bunch of trucks and vans and RVs, buses. They roll up, and a man gets out of an El Camino. Very nice ride, I might add. And starts playing music, so this is probably where the music was coming from that Nick heard. And they're playing music, they lure the dead into a truck, and spray paint the number 12 on it. So with that, we have sort of an unspoken affirmation that these are the same people that had that flag with the 457 on it, or the 51 that Al had. Yeah, the silo had 457 on it, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it was 457. So they sort of just set up camp. Guy's acting like he's tailgating, pulls out a fold chair, gets a cooler out, and just pulls out a beer, just starts having a drink. They don't attack, they just kind of chill out there for a little bit. Madison talks to him, his name is Mel. He goes on about how places like this have a natural life cycle, and that they can only last so long. They help the people out by the silo and clean up their mess. Probably why there's no walkers there, because we know that they heard them. It's very reminiscent to when the wolves had the trucks rigged with the infected, the walkers. Different purpose probably with this, but similar. So they appear. We know they're called the Vultures. Strand calls them the Vultures. They appear to be forced. They're not taking things at this point per se. They're not killing people. They just seem to be waiting for something bad to happen. But they also probably instigate that bad something to happen. And this episode had a nice little twist in it with Charlie. She was a mole. Mel starts going on about Nick, how he knows his name, that they have a weevil problem, that they might as well burn the whole crop, burn everything, get rid of the weevils. So they're there. He gives them choices: join us, or we just wait for you to die and we take your stuff anyway. So I'm curious to see what these people are up to, why they're so sure that they're going to die. Probably because they're going to do something. But they're not going to just flat out straight up just go in there and kill everybody. They have a different tactic. Yes, they're very savior-esque. They're very give us your stuff, and they market it as sort of like we're doing this for you. We're doing this to help you. What else? Luciana gives her the book. Gives Charlie the book. Okay, fast forward to present day. We have Morgan, Al, and John are tied up, and Luciana comes up and says, "You're one of them." Strand calls them vultures. That's where the name comes from. Presumably because they wait for bad things to happen, and then they pick at the apple, and then they go and basically clean house. Basically like vultures do. They wait, they see something dead, they go and eat it. It's kind of what these people are doing. So interesting. This is sort of what I was waiting for that we didn't get in the first episode. Introduction to what this season is going to be focused on in terms of an antagonist. And we got that answer in episode 2. So, excited about that. So, Al, John, and Morgan said, have no idea who these people are. And Alicia wants them to take them back to where they've got the flag. And roll credits. So, Walker Kill of the Week is going to be the Silent Walkers with Madison, Naomi, Strand, Alicia, and Luciana. Okay, top 5 moments. 5 is Nick going off, and then Madison coming to the rescue with the car. 4, the flaming baseball. I just thought that was hysterical. 3, Charlie the reveal that Charlie was a mole. I put that on there because it was excuse me, sorry. Because it was a huge twist. I was not expecting that. I thought they legitimately found this girl and they were looking for a family, and that was going to be part of this plot of part of the season, in addition to whatever antagonist they come across. So good on them. That was a good plot twist that they kept hidden pretty well in the episode. You could see hints of it, like she's playing with the walkie. What was she doing with the walkie before Nick showed up? She's asking a lot of questions. She's prying a lot, but doesn't come across as anything too suspicious. She's a kid. Kids ask questions. 2, the introduction of these antagonists, the vultures, and 1, introduction of Naomi fighting the silent fool of the undead. So, having seen this episode and really looking at it, I'm going to give this one a 10 out of 10 for many reasons. It was good. Not a lot happened. I said this before, not a lot happened. But a lot happened at the same time. It was a pretty contained episode. Not much happened, but we got introduction to the antagonist. We know the start of where Mass and the crew are at in the past after the dam. And it's sort of connecting the dots as to how Alicia and them got to where they are at, the end of this episode, the end of episode 1 as well. So that's why I give this one a 10 out of 10. I'm probably not going to give every episode a 10 out of 10, but I honestly think this one deserves it. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this sucker up and get into my predictions video. I was really excited for this season of Fear. Now, I'm super pumped. Honestly, Fear is getting just as good as The Walking Dead. I even see a lot of people, saying that Fear is better than The Walking Dead. I don't agree with that 100%, but I do think they're on the same level. At this point, I don't see Fear as catching up. Fear has earned its keep in the same universe as The Walking Dead. It's unique, but yet it's part of the universe, especially now with Morgan joining it. I could go on a complete rant about how I disagree with people hating on The Walking Dead, blah, blah, blah. But that's not going to really solve anything here, and most of my arguments have to do with what happens in the comics. Go with it, it's going to get better. But we shall see. We'll see what happens in Season 9. I'm excited for Fear as well. Oh, and speaking of Season 9, any of you don't know this, Lauren Cohan has officially signed on for Season 9, so we will officially have Maggie Rhee, the widow, still alive in the show. I mean, I knew they were gonna be able to work something out. There's so much more Maggie to tell. We know she's pregnant. We have this little mini Civil War storyline going with her versus Rick. So, excited. So, that's going to be it for this video. And I will hope you enjoyed the episode. And I will see you in my predictions. Catch you later. Deuces.